So I have my base done, and I actually was sent out a couple of foundations and concealers, but they didn't match my skin tone. I tried to pick up my shade in pennies on like 3 different occasions and couldn't, so obviously the range is doing well. Anyway, the first item that I have is the bronzer, and I adore this. Some bronzers can be very warm, very red, and personally I don't find flattering on the skin, not for me anyway. I've some tan on at the minute, and this shade of bronzer suits fine. I'm using a small contour brush initially to get into the hollows of the cheeks, and now I'm using an angled brush with larger sweeping motions to take this product up onto the cheeks and around the edges of the face. Next then, I'm taking the Duo Blush Highlighter Palette, and I'm picking up some of the blush from the palette now. As you can see, it's very intense. It's an intense blush colour, so what I've done is I've picked up a small amount of my brush, tapped the brush on the back of my hand to take off the bulk of the product, and then applied it to my cheek. And it's a gorgeous vibrant shade, but I want a subtle hint of colour to the cheeks because I'll be adding a bold lip later on. If you've gone overboard, you can go back in with your face powder and help buff the blush into the skin to tone it down. Next then, I'm using the Glowing Face palette to highlight my skin, and I'm taking the shade on the bottom left of the palette. Now of course I could have used the highlighter from the previous palette, but I wanted to use as many products from the range as possible. I love a strong beaming highlighter, and this gives just that. It's so beautiful. I just add this to the tops of my cheeks, the side of my nose, and above my lip. Now, if it's too intense for you, or if you find you've just a big stripe of product on the face, go back in with your foundation brush and use the excess product to kind of melt it into the skin. It doesn't look like it's sitting then on top of the skin, if you get me. I don't really go for a bold lip all that often because I like to really play up my eyes, but today I was sucked in by this gorgeous red lip pencil, so a bold lip it is. The pencil's nice and creamy, it glides across the lips without tugging or pulling, doesn't bleed, and it's not drying on the lips. Penny's lip pencils are fantastic anyway, so I wasn't really surprised in the slightest. Once I've lined my lips though, and filled them in, then I'm moving on to lipstick. So I've taken a lipstick then, which I thought complements the lip pencil nicely. It's near enough the same colour, which is great. If the lipstick fades off throughout the day, then you're not going to notice because you've got that similar colour liner on underneath, so happy days. In regards to the lipstick itself, I've only good things to say. Similar to the liner, it was nice and creamy, went on with ease. It's extremely pigmented and lasted very, very well on the lips. And the lip products are definitely the standout items from this collection in my opinion. Next then, I'm taking this champagne coloured cream shadow. I used a synthetic brush to apply this shade. It does perform better when you use your fingers, but I couldn't apply it how I wanted to because of my nails. So I applied a layer with the brush and then a layer with my fingers, and that way I got into all the nooks and crannies the first time. I've applied that light colour all the way across the lid, and now I'm using this deep bronze shade and adding that on the remaining half of the lid. Again, I'm using a synthetic brush to pat the colour on the eye area, and when I've coated the lid, and when I get to the crease area, I'm just using my finger to pat over the edge to blend it out. The cream shadows are really nice. I'm not really a cream shadow person, or I suppose really a cream products person in general, but they are lovely, and if you wanted something quick and easy that still adds a nice bit of sparkle, then these are a good option. That took a little to no effort, but looks really well. Now I'm taking the 340 Eyeshadow Palette. It's a great palette for summertime in particular due to the range of shades. I'm taking the first shade on the bottom row, and I'm using this to set the cream shadow in place, and it'll also make it pop that bit more. Then I'm taking this shimmery brown. It's hard to tell from the photo, but it's got nice golden flecks running throughout it. Same as before, I'm using this over the cream shadow to set it in place and to intensify the colour on the lid. Next then, I'm using this warm matte brown, and I'm adding this into the crease. So I'm placing my brush right above the lid area, above those two previous shades that I applied, and I'm wriggling my brush back and forward to blend that colour into the crease. Next, I'm taking that deep brown on the far right, and I'm using this to add some further depth. So I'm mainly focusing this on the outer portion of the eye, making sure to pull it upwards and outwards on that outer corner. Then I'll be taking what's left on the brush across into the crease, and I just repeat this process a few times until I'm happy with the gradient. Moving on to liner now, always my favourite part. So I'm taking this felt tip liner pen and I'm starting by making small strokes across the lash line. Now I always find when I've used metallic shadows or cream shadows on the lid, because they're a little bit chunkier, it's harder to use a felt tip liner pen precisely. I had to kind of like tap the pen in place to apply some of the product when I got further away from the lash line itself. It did take me a good bit of time to get the wing how I liked it, but I've used the pen on its own and it's grand. So now I'm smoking that nice warm crease shade down along the lower lash line with the use of a bullet shaped brush, and then I'm adding that darker brown along there too. Moving on to the waterline, I'm taking a black kohl pencil and I'm running this inside the eye. Once I've got that coated, then I'm also wriggling the pencil down onto the lash line slightly, and I'll be smudging that out in a minute. So while that pencil is still creamy, I'm taking an angled brush and I'm just smoking the pencil down under the eye. You want to work quickly if you're doing this, because if you leave the pencil for any length of time, it's going to set and then it'll be harder to smudge. Next then, I'm popping on some lashes, and these are exclusive to Penny's. They're from the brand Kiss, which, as you know, is one of my favourite lash brands. Once I've those lashes firmly in place, I'm going back in with the felt tip liner pen, and I'm going over any shiny parts along that lash band from the glue. To blend my own lashes in with the false ones, I'm taking the 320 volume mascara. Now the wand on this is huge. Obviously you can't see the effects of mascara in this look because I've lashes on, but I actually wasn't keen on this mascara when I used it afterwards. I felt that it just made it kind of very difficult to apply with the wand being so big, and the formula was just a bit meh. To add a bit of sparkle now, I'm taking the first golden shade up the top and I'm patting it around the tear duct of my eye. And then to set everything in place, I'm taking the fixing spray, and I actually really liked this. But then that's it. So I hoped you enjoyed the tutorial and found it helpful. If you did, please let me know and I'll catch you all soon.